Hi, my name's Andrew, and this is a demo for my scrapTroller game that I made. I started this about a week and a half into the JavaScript bootcamp that I did with Concordia. I had a lot of fun making this. Probably put about maybe 60 or 70 hours into it. I completed it in it took me about 3 weeks, but I mean, I was also doing like 50 to 60 hours a week on the course. So, yeah, it's a lot of extra time, I guess. Um, All right, so you can choose your model. I don't know if that's crazy loud or not. I'll turn down my volume, meant that it is. So you can choose your model. They each have different amounts of health, how fast their shields come back up, how fast they can attack, how much damage to deal, how much damage to take, and how fast you move on the screen. Um, so, higher defensive ones are more, beginner friendly or whatever. But if you've played the game a lot, you can choose this one where you get to choose your exact stats and you can go all offense because that is the greatest way to make money in the game. Yeah. Now I'll just fail miserably. All right, so I'll start talking about it. So basically, it loads up the game, and I have a bunch of classes for enemies, and I spawn them in. When they die, they drop amounts of money that are semi-randomized. Each monster has like a different level or whatever, and they give you a certain amount of money based on what level they are. It might look like there's not a lot of enemies, but I know by heart where everything spawns. Oh yeah, not everything is actually set where they spawn exactly. There's a lot of randomization in it as well, but at the beginning, I had a lot of specific design for where they came out just to make it more symmetric, I suppose. And yeah, so the way these enemies attack is that they launch. If you leave them alive for long enough, they will launch fire cells, and if you walk on them like this, you take damage. But notice when I take damage, I'll do it again here on purpose. On the left side, my shield recovery bar begins refilling. So that was 60 seconds. The time left is out here. Each level is 60 seconds. You're collecting the scrap after the enemies die, and then you go back to the lab. Now you can spend the money to upgrade your guy. So I'm going to get some more attack so that I kill things really quickly. Now I'm basically out of money. So you keep track of how much money you've ever had and your how much money you currently have. These are the instructions how to play. It's WASD and spacebar to attack. And I'll just remove that. You can also remove all the dots around your character, your hitbox and your attack hitbox. But I frankly find it much easier to play the game if you leave them there. So jump back into day 2 now. Now there's these guys, they launch acid. So there's different kinds of attacks the enemies do. I didn't make swiping types of attacks. Obviously I could now, but when I first made the game, I found the prospect of doing that a bit daunting. But I was pretty new to JavaScript at the time. I'd only been doing it for a week when I started this. Yeah, I don't know how long I should play this game for. There's literally 31 days of this. Yeah, die. There we go. I'm dead. Game over. You are scrap. Level lost forever. Very cool. Yeah, there's actually a lot of different types of enemies. You're going to see these ones start streaming down. They're going to start launching stuff all over the place. The game kind of snowballs against you if you don't take care of enemies because they start throwing more stuff on the screen. Later, there's enemies that throw lava on the screen, and lava stays there for the whole duration of the level. There's a stage boss every 6 stages, which is like this giant tank that moves back and forth and spawns enemies behind him. And there's actually like I'm not going to say it's cinematic, but if you make it to day 31, like all your friends come up and they all run around you and stuff like that, and it's cute. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this. I like making games. Anyway, yeah, what do I say? I mean, there's a lot of like little cool things where like the amount of health you have is representative of the number of pixels that are in each bar, and they recover at certain the bars move up at certain speeds. Oh yeah, the textures and whatnot, they're randomized every level. I was originally going to have it so that on certain types of textures you move faster, and certain types of textures you deal more damage, and I realized that it'd just be confusing as a player. Like if you're moving, all of a sudden you slow down, then you speed up. Like the cells are too small. I could have made them bigger, I guess, but yeah, it would just be disorienting to suddenly move fast and suddenly move slow, and suddenly, you know, oh, I take more damage on this cell. It's like, okay, you know, it's a level of complexity that doesn't really add to the game feel. Um, uh, yeah, what else? Oh, things I should have done. I should have made the size of the screen modular. I originally started programming this for my screen, and then like, I don't know, I was almost done by the time I realized I was showing it to somebody, and they were like, "Well, what about like when I do it? Can I change the size of it?" And I was like, "No." And the reason for that was because when I was doing hit detection, you know, I was literally, I'd have a unit there, and I'd move my unit into it and make sure that it felt right when I would touch the guy, and so I programmed it so that everything was a fixed pixel size. Um, and what I should have done was I should have done it all, instead of being by pixel count, it would have been by like percentage, or calculated distance from, which is what I would later end up doing for my pool game. Um, anyhow, so yeah, so unfortunately, if you're playing on a small screen, you would have a hard time doing this. This is like a 15-inch laptop, which isn't that big, I guess, but if you're playing on a lower resolution screen, or like a 13-inch screen, you might start cutting into things. Well, these are just, you know, fixed on the right side, so these would just start squeezing over. Like if I change my screen here, they just push over, and eventually they tuck behind, because everything is fixed. Anyhow, so yeah, that's the one thing I would change. I'd also make a mute button. I just didn't get around to it. Uh, yeah, a mute button for the music and the sound effects. That's about it. All right, take care.